was a shadow in the government's game. Pawn as a child with no face and no name. They stole my past to leave me cold and alone. Always searching for a place that could call home. I was lost in the dark, just a tool in the hand, till she pulled me close and helped me understand. Now the fire inside is starting to rise. I can see the truth through 1,000 lies. Now I tear through the veil, leave holes in the sky. I can read every thought in the blink of an eye. Danica, my witch, she's the magic in me. Yeah, I finally found what they took from me. With a hellhound beside me, I'm standing my ground. No longer a ghost that's never been found. In the dead of the night, I can hear the call. All the ghosts of my past scratching through the wall. My eyes change colors, the power has grown. With Crowley the hound, I'm never alone. I used to be hollow, a man made of glass, but now I am reclaiming every year that has passed. Every memory is falling right back into place. I know every name and I remember every face. Now I tear through the veil, leave holes in the sky. I can read every thought in the blink of an eye. Danica, my witch, she's a magic in me. Yeah, I finally found what they took from me. With a hellhound beside me, I'm standing my ground. No longer a ghost that's never been found. I ain't running no more, yeah, I'm ready to fight. Gonna settle that debt in the depth of the night. They tried to break me, they tried to erase, but they can't hide the blood from the scars on my face. The veil is thin and the engine is hot. I'm taking back everything that they thought I forgot. Now I tear through the veil, leave holes in the sky. I can read every thought in the blink of an eye. Danica, my witch, she's the magic in me. Yeah, I finally found what they took from me. With a hellhound beside me, I'm standing my ground. No longer a ghost that's never been found. I remember it all now. Every single face, I'm calling for you in the dead of the night.
Hello again. My name's Henry. When we left off on 8, I was talking about the 2 kids, things that was going on, things I didn't understand. Years later, I remembered what happened with those kids. They had taken me to Montauk and put me in the chair. And I'm telling this part of it now, so you'll know what I'm talking about with these 2 kids. They took me down into the lower levels, put me in this chair, kind of like a barber chair, strapped me in, put a helmet on me, had all these wires and shit attached to it, and underneath the chair there was a big box. Big cables running from the helmet down to the box. And these wires were also wired to the chair. And it was a room inside of a room. And the chair and me was in the inside room, and on the outside room there was windows, and I was kept in complete darkness. And it started out sending brain messages, brain waves from one place to another. And then also picking up on some that was sent, and I was to decode them. Well, at first it took quite a while to generate that, and they was using a lot of electricity and a lot of computers. They had this pole inside that building that went way down 500-600 foot in the ground. This is something that a lot of people don't know. A lot of that electricity was coming from the ground. Yeah, there were generators and stuff going, but they needed more power. So in order to help accelerate my gifts, powers, whatever you want to call them, I called them a curse at the time, they would shoot electricity into that, and then the wires run outside up the building and up to this big tower looking deal. This kind of reminds you of a microwave disc, kind of like a satellite dish in a way, but it was huge. And they could rotate that whatever way they wanted to send those waves to send out or receive. Well, the first few tests they thought was kind of minor, you know. It didn't go as exactly like they wanted it to. I mean, it worked, but they keep needing more and more power. And they constantly be harping at me. Of course, they had wiped that out of my mind, so I wouldn't remember. I just saw them get a flash. But anyway, this one particular test, they turned the juice up really high, and what it was is I was supposed to use my gift to transmit up to this tower, and then it would go through this like a dish, satellite dish, whatever the hell you want to call it, and it would be transmitted someplace, I didn't know where. So those tests went okay, but they wanted more. You know how the military is. If good's good right now, they want excellent the next time. Well, there's two motivators in life. Pain and threat of pain and fear. Well, I had no clue. They took those two kids and put them in metal chairs on top of the building. The wires that run from my helmet, my chair, and from this pole would then run up to those two chairs, and in their idiotic Looney Tune brains, they figured that if they told them to think the same things I was thinking, coupled with the electricity going through the chair and up to their metal chairs, then to that microwave tower, satellite dish, whatever the hell you want to call it, that it would amplify it even more. But this is how smart they were, but yet they were so goddamn stupid. When they threw the juice to it, and I'm in this room and they're watching me through these windows, these real thick windows. The generators fired up. The pole was already throwing ungodly amounts of energy. So when they combined those two, it hit the chair, the helmet. Then from me, it went out onto that wires that ran from the box up side the wall to those two kids strapped in these metal chairs. Yeah, there was a message that went out all right. I didn't hear it, but whoever was on the receiving end of that got it plain and clear. These kids' brains actually fried like eggs and bacon in a skillet. they could hear it on the other end through the screaming. They cut the power real quick. I'll give you an idea what that's like. Running about 50 miles an hour in a vehicle and hitting a block wall. It darn near made me pass out, taking energy away that quick. But if anybody knows anything about energy never dies. Because they shut it off so damn quick, it ended up back inside of me. Well, there was a side effect that lasted several days, which was the shaking, and every time you touched something, you'd get a spark that come from your fingers or your feet. They made me wear these rubber-looking shoes. Then they had me wearing rubber gloves, because every so often somebody would get touched and they'd fall to the floor like they was having a stroke. Something worse than that never left. But every time they done these tests, it got worse. That's part of the reason for these glasses. My eyes changed color. I was born with chocolate brown eyes. They go through a series of colors. They go from a chocolate brown, almost a black, then a brown, then a hazel, then kind of a yellow color to a milky color. Sometimes they're like kaleidoscopes, and if I get frustrated or nervous, they really go crazy. People see that, they'd probably put me in a hole somewhere, thinking I was some kind of a fucking freak. Also has a tendency when people shine lights in my eyes, they tend to glow sometimes, kind of like my dog. That's a story for another time. So, to hide this from people, because they figured it would wear off within a few days, it never did. So they come up with a solution. They didn't give a shit about me. They didn't give a shit about nobody. All they cared about was their damn test and the other crap that was going on. So anyway, they decided to make me wear these contacts. And you know anything about contacts, back in those days, they were a pain in the ass. Never ever got used to them fully. But I had to wear them. I'd take them out when I was in the house, clean them, put them in them solution, them little round deals, caps, marked left and right. Clean them for a few minutes, and I had to turn around and put them back in. When I got ready to go to bed, I had to put them back in there. Before anybody could see me, though, my mom made me put those back in. That's not to startle nobody. But anyway, I lived with a survivor's guilt. It didn't kill those two kids. It probably would have been more humanity if it would have. They're still alive and they still suffer. Sometimes I feel like it was because of me. Even though I wasn't the one that strapped them in the chair up there. I guess because I had a few side effects, but nothing like they had. So I got a little survivor's guilt on that. So they sent me home, and when I went home, it's like I'd only been gone a few minutes, but I'd been gone for quite a while, a couple months. And my dad and mom come home for a few days, and Dad goes, "Hey," before I left, I was talking to a buddy of mine. Let's go to his house, and I was wanting to tell him about those projects, what they were doing. He didn't want to hear about it. So I got in the truck with him and went, and this buddy of his taught me the fine game of Liar's Box. It was a game they used to play in the bar. It'd take a cigar box, and each person got a handful of matches, back then stick matches. And there was 5 or 6 dice in there, I can't remember now. And you'd shake that box many times you want to shake it. And then you'd open it, and you'd look at it and see if you had a good hand. And you didn't move the box very much. You closed it, and you claimed what you see in that box. Now, if you was a good liar, you claim a lot bigger hand than what you really had. And you'd slide the box. You didn't throw it, you slid it so them dice didn't turn over. And if that person decided to open that fucking box and you was lying, you took one of his matches. At the end of the game, whoever lost all their matches, that was the winner. Well, after him showing me that game, he goes, I think I can take you downstairs now. They're probably awake by now. My wife tells me I got to get rid of these things because she's afraid they're going to have babies. Babies? What do you got? He said, I got 2 white mice, a male and a female. He said, they no tricks. He said, if you're real careful, you can carry them in your shirt pocket. Every so often, throw a Cheeto down there, and they'll eat that Cheeto and go to sleep. He said, don't put them in your pants pocket because you squish them, kill them. He said, they're solid white, they're albinos, and they got pink eyes, pink ears, pink feet, pink tail. He said, you take a Cheeto, put them on the ground on the linoleum floor, and you roll that Cheeto. They'll chase it down, and they'll roll it back. And then they'll sit down there and eat it in front of you. They know all kinds of little tricks. He said, they're fast learners. He said, I'm going to give them to you, cage and all, and even a bag of feed. So we went down there. I said, they don't bite, do they? No, he said, they're harmless. He said, you got to keep their cage cleaned out. So he explained to me what all I had to do, and I looked at my dad, and my dad said, well, they're yours. You got to take care of them. So I kept them in my bedroom. Well, one time I had them for quite a long time. I got called back to the projects again. I didn't want to go. Mom said, I'll take care of the mice. Well, I knew she didn't like them. Anyway, I was gone again, and they was teaching me some more stuff in a chair, preparing me for time travel backwards. So, I wanted to go home. I had these mice to play with. Wasn't no fun where I was at. So I kind of acted up a little bit and got the job done, and they sent me back home, but they told my parents that, I guess, that I had acted up. Man, did I get my ass chewed. So that night I go to bed. Next morning I wake up. Both mice are dead. These are young mice. They're dead. I couldn't figure out why. Years later I found out that that bitch of a mom of mine, cruel-hearted son of a bitch, she took them mice, put them outside in the snow, let them freeze to death. Once she knew they was stiff as a poker, she brought them back in, took a hairdryer, heated them up, put them back in my room, waited for me to find them dead. Now, this was the kind of shit that my mom would do, same as those people in the project started doing. Got to where they'd kill my animals. Eventually, they got to where they was killing friends of mine, making it look like accidents. That was part of the fear control. You don't do what we say, you lose something you care about. It wasn't like being grounded, where they'd take something away from you for X amount of days and give it back. No. They would just kill it. I didn't know that for years until finally my mom told me. She goes, you know them white mice you had? Yeah, what about them? She goes, you know, one time you was acting up. I took those son bitches outside, put them in the snow, let them freeze to death, brought them in, took a hairdryer to them so they'd be nice and pliable, put them back in the cage in your room. Because every time you acted up, we didn't get full payment. Oh yeah, my parents was getting paid. Found out later on the rest of my family was getting paid too. My grandma was getting paid, aunts and uncles, because everybody knew except for me. Well, I kept having these dreams. I couldn't figure them out. They just haunted me and haunted me. I didn't know who in the hell it was. So Mom made a phone call and they come and got me again and took me back up to Long Island. They said, you're having dreams, huh? How the hell do you know about that? We know everything. So the only person that knew about that was my mom and dad, Grandma and Grandpa. That must have been who told you. Never talked to them. Back then, I kind of believed them. Well, this guy proceeded to laugh, and he goes, I'm going to show you something. So he takes me down a hallway into this room, turns the light on, and have a seat. I sit down. He turned the movie reel on. Reel to reel. There was all these scientists, doctor-looking people in there, and there I was on this bed. They brought out these things that kind of remind you of two lava lamps. They set them down there beside me and looked like I was asleep. They opened up them two caps. And they were doing some kind of looked like a ritual. I didn't quite understand it back then. Still can't make too much heads and tails out of it nowadays, but it is what it is. What they'd done was they took my two uncles that was dead. They crammed them inside of me too. So now I got old Henry, and I got two uncles inside of me. So after watching that, I asked the guy, why the hell would you do something like that, and how in the hell did you get your hands on those two? Simple. You don't understand the bigger picture, do you, boy? I know, I guess I don't. He goes, well, I'll explain it to you. There's a lot more people involved than you think, like your family. Your grandma, your dad, Mrs., your two uncles. Well, in order to get you for the project, we have to pay them, plus give them a little incentive. Because they're alive inside of you. So in a sense, your grandma got her two sons back. Your dad got his two brothers back. see how that works. I'm starting to figure it out. Everybody got paid except for me. There wouldn't have been enough money to pay me for all the shit they put me through, but still, I was a sucker. Now I'm understanding why my grandma was making me dress like them and talk like them, and why my dad was buddying up with me. Things started to make a little sense. As I got older, more and more started making sense to me, and it's kind of rough sometimes, but what can you do? I just live from day to day. I don't get to deal the cards. I just got to play the hand I got and live with it. Try to make sense of it and learn to coexist. Sometimes these three do shit. Can get me in trouble sometimes. But in times of need, they can also get me out of trouble. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. But anyway, now I know why my dad always wanted to hang around with me, up to a certain point. So, one day, I'm down at my dad's sister's husband and his sister's house. And his sister was a meat cutter, and she worked uptown. Anyway, I got there that morning early. Was sitting there, and I won't use my uncle's name because he's passed on. But anyway, he had kind of antsy that day. My aunt come home at noon. We sat there and ate. He hurried up and got done. He went downstairs. So she got done. She put the dishes away, and she goes, "Well, I gotta get back to work. Just go on downstairs." He's down there in the living room downstairs. He likes to sit down there downstairs. I said, okay. So I give her a hug goodbye. I headed downstairs as she was going out to go to work. I went down there, and my uncle was sitting there, and he goes, "Hey, come here." So I walked to her, and he goes, "Now she's gone, do you need a smoke?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Did you hide your cigarettes out there in the flower pot like I told you to?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, come on." So we go out there by the garage, and he said, "I'm going to be in here cleaning up a couple tools. I don't want you smoking inside the garage because I got chemicals in here. It might blow us sky high. And you can stand outside the door here and shade and smoke. When you're done, come on in. I should be done." I said, "Okay." So I sat out there smoking a cigarette. Got done. I put it out in the dirt behind the shed there and put the filter in my pocket and walked in there and felt the filter and made sure it wasn't hot and threw it in the trash can and covered it up. He goes, "Are you ready?" I was like, "Yeah, where are we going?" He goes, "I got something I want to show you." He said, "Can I trust you?" I was like, "Well, yeah." "You won't tell nobody?" "I won't tell nobody." So we go in the house and go downstairs into the living room. He said, "I'll be back in a minute." He went back to the bedroom, and assuming he got in the safe, got these two big movie reels out, brought them in there and set the projector thing up, put the new movie reels on there and fed the loop around, and turned the lights off, pulled the curtains. What I was about to see still freaks me out today. I don't understand it, but here's what I seen. It was a movie reel. It was silent. There wasn't no words. You see this car or truck heading down the road, and you see this car come from the other direction. This truck pulls out of a gravel road onto the highway. It don't even get all the way straightened out, and this car comes from nowhere. I mean, it's like it just appeared as it hit. It looked like there was 5 people. There was 2 people in the front seat, 2 people in the bed of the truck up against the cab, and a little kid. It hit that truck so hard it cut it in half. I didn't get to see who was holding the movie reel filming this. And back in those days, they wouldn't have done no damn reenactment. This was filmed as it was happening. Where in the hell did this film come from? I have no clue. But I sat there and watched this. That little kid in the truck in the back with the 2 younger people, that was me. My uncle and my 3rd cousin was in the front seat. My other uncle, me, and my cousin was in the back of the truck with our backs toward the cab of the truck. And somebody was filming, the youngest uncle, dragging everybody up off of the highway so they wouldn't get hit. His head was so big, you couldn't have got it in a 5-gallon bucket. I mean, they were just tore to pieces. There was digits removed, fingers gone. Their shoes were peeled off. The oldest uncle, the impact was so bad that they had to dig his wedding ring out of the pavement with a screwdriver. Now, whoever was filming this was right there filming. I don't know how they got that. Unless they went back in time. Or it was my handlers. Don't know. Years later, I'd ask my family about where that wreck exactly took place. Each one of them had a different spot. None of the spots matched up with what I remember now. They all tried to hide the fact, too, that there was only 4 people in there. Well, I have the accident report. There was 5 people. 4 that was named, and a young one that wasn't named. Didn't state if it was a boy or a girl, but the other thing in this accident report states there was only those 2 vehicles on the road at that particular spot. There was a woman about 20 minutes before the accident went to the police station to report a car driving erratically. The police left from this town to go up to where the scene of the accident was. They didn't meet nobody. There was nobody there at the scene of the accident. They were all pronounced dead except for one. They didn't make no mention of the younger one, which would have been me, but the one cousin that they thought was dead wasn't. He was just knocked silly. And his breathing was real shallow, but he lived for about 3 days. Now here's the kicker. Everybody was told not to tell him that the other 3 had passed away. Somebody went there and opened their mouth. All this guy had was 2 broken legs and a broken arm and a head concussion. That don't kill people. Somebody went in there and blabbed. Next day he was dead. Cause of death? Nobody knows. Those that do probably ain't talking. There's lots of skeletons in my family's closets. Now, did somebody silence him? It's a good guess. Could have been one of the family members. Plausible. Or was it my handlers? Don't know and probably never will know. Anyway, for the next few years, I never could figure out why everybody treated me like I was a kid of one of the gods. I could do no wrong. That's because I was the golden goose shitting the golden eggs everybody was collecting. All I was getting was a pain in the ass for it all. People was getting farms bought, new cars, swimming pools. I was one dealing with all the suffering and the pain. That's okay, I don't have much to do with the son of bitches anymore. Don't care that I ever do. I got a fairly decent life. Good as possible under the circumstances. I got people who goes by here taking pictures. People sit across the road out in the field at nighttime. Hell, they don't care if it's sleeting, snowing, raining, storming. They don't care. They're getting paid to sit over there and watch me. Try to lure me off the property by myself. They're crazy as hell. They go by here snapping pictures and shit every day. It's a new batch of people. They really think I'm stupid. I don't go outside without a radio. And my wife has the other one. Plus I got a mean-ass dog in the house. So, it's like Fort Knox here. They just like to try to see if they can draw me off of the property to get me by myself. Ain't gonna happen. But anyway, everybody benefited from this. My family, all of them. I didn't benefit nothing from it. Except by them running out of electricity just made my gifts a lot more powerful. I've learned to control them. Learned to aim better with them. But anyway, I'd went on a few more projects and come home one day and I was always getting pets, usually pets because one would get deceased. Dad took me to this guy's house and I didn't know this guy, but he knew me. By hell, he probably from the projects and I just didn't recognize him. Told me he had a wolf pup. Aren't they mean? He goes, no. Not if you be good to him. So he took me out to the barn and he had a cage out there and had 4 or 5 pups in there. So he got this one out. Put him in my arm. He goes, that's for you. Well, he was cute as hell. He's kind of bluish black looking. Had the funniest damn eyes I ever seen. Well, I took him home and I take a little piece of cheese and I push his butt down and tell him to sit. Every so often he'd break and I'd have to push his butt down again and tell him to sit, and I'd give him a piece of cheese. Well, about the fourth or fifth time he caught on. So I worked with him on that for about a week, make sure he got it down, so then I started adding to it. I'd set him down on the spot, tell him to sit, and I'd hold the piece of cheese up, then I'd call him, and he'd come to me, and I'd say, sit, and he'd sit down, and I'd give him a piece of cheese. Well, I had him for quite a while. Got to noticing different things about him, though. He slept in my bedroom on the bed. Nighttime, his eyes glowed. I thought it was kind of weird. Well, as he grew, he was about 8 weeks old. Dad said, well, that guy said that we have to build him a cage outside because they're nocturnal. Okay. But can I still bring him in the house sometimes? Yeah, but you just can't sleep with him night times. He'll keep you awake. Well, we built a nice little cage for him. Had him a little burrow back there where he'd go in daytime and hide. Well, every day I'd get him out, we'd play. I'd still work with him. He's smart. But one day, that pup stood up on 2 legs. He walked all the way across the yard on 2 back legs. Just like a person. He didn't wobble, nothing. I mean, he just stood up and walked. When he got to where I was at, he didn't go down on all fours yet. He went straight down on his butt. And all of a sudden he put his front arms down. I got to noticing his hands. And yeah, I said hands. You probably think I was going to say feet. Well, they were, I guess, feet, but he had hands like a person. Damnedest thing I ever seen. Like, well, maybe this is what wolves are supposed to be like. I didn't know. So, I told Dad about it. Dad said, don't let him be doing that no more. People won't understand. But the more I looked at him, the more he looked like them things at the haunted farm. But he was a good one. He wasn't trying to hurt me or nothing. He just liked to learn a new trick to love cheese. That son of a bitch would beg you for a piece of cheese. He was a con artist. Well, one day, I had to leave for the projects again. When I come back, he was in the cage. He seen the car pull in, and I was sitting there watching him, and he stuck his arm out the wire, and I had a hasp. And then, you know that, but a hasp has a thing come out like this here, a hook, and we just had a dog snap there. And I'm watching him as I'm walking to let him out. He reached out there, put his, looked like a thumb on there, and opened that dog latch, pushes the door open with his other arm. And when he jumped out, he landed on 2 back feet, and he started running on his back feet to the car. Needless to say, he wasn't full grown by no means. But he was big enough he rolled me. He jumped around and licking on me and nipping, just playing, like he always did. Dad said, grab him and get him in the house. So he was full of piss and vinegar, and I carried him in the house, and he's nipping and biting on my ear, biting my cheek. Got him in the house. Dad said, how far can he walk like that? I don't know. He said, well, get him a piece of cheese. So I held that piece of cheese and walked, and he got up on his back 2 legs and was trying to use his hands to grab at that cheese, to grab it, put it in his mouth. I walked all over the place, and he followed me around trying to get that piece of cheese. Well, the next time I left, come home, they was burying him out in the backyard. The story that I got, whether it's true or not, the story I got was the neighbor kid seen him undo the hasp with his thumb, and when he jumped out on 2 back legs, they beat him to death. I don't know what to believe. I didn't go dig him up. Dad said he was buried in the yard, and there was a fresh dig mark. That one really hurt me bad. I had a real connection with him. Come to find out, it wasn't no damn wolf. That was Dog Man. That was for later on what they was preparing me for. I didn't know it at the time, because I was stupid and young. So I cried about that for a while, and those pets, they always leave a mark on you. You never forget them. Then I was given a German Shepherd. She was a good dog. And this guy gave me a albino coon. So now I had a German Shepherd and an albino coon. I never learned, I guess. Every time I got something, it wound up either going missing or dead. Same with people later on. So, I got used to having pets and taken away, and now the only thing I have any pity for is the old people, the young kids, and animals. That's it. I've been done in by enough people, had people beat me, people try to kill me and still trying to kill me. People left me for dead in a field, left me dead in a swamp. Have very little use for people. A real lack of trust. I have to really know somebody before I trust them. And I'm talking about a long time. Otherwise, I'll never ever turn my back on them, because every time I have, I've got it good. So I don't trust many people. Don't care to be around big crowds either. So they send me back to the projects again. This time they told me they was going to send me back in time. But first, they was going to send me to someplace special. Now, with these kind of people, they played good cop, bad cop. Some of them in the room was good cop, some of them in the room were bad cop. Sometimes they'd flip-flop on you. But they told me they was going to send me to this place, and all they wanted me to do was I was going to be there for about 30 seconds, and they'd pull me back. Now, in that 30 seconds, there's going to be one object there. When I come back, I have to be able to describe it, give an approximate height. So they put me in the chair, put the helmet on, fired up the generators, and off I went. I couldn't tell you where they sent me. I have no clue. All I know is when I got there, it was kind of like a tropical paradise. It was not hot, but it wasn't cold. It was warm. Well, when I was dropped out, standing before me there on a big pedestal was a golden statue of a horse in a rearing position. I won't say what else I've seen around that horse because I don't need to be mentioned. Because too many people that would hear what I just said and take the rest of that and they would try to use it for themselves. Ain't gonna do it. So we're just gonna leave it. It was a golden horse statue rearing. Time's up. I got sucked back in and wound back up in the chair with a helmet on my head. They shut everything down and waited for everything to stop, clear, and they come back in the room, turn the light on, tell us what you seen. I told them about the golden statue. Give them approximate height on it. Described the area which I was in, which I didn't know a name for the place. They said, "You done right by us. You're pretty good at this." So, next few days I got to rest. Then somebody got the bright idea, and I don't know who it was. Who it was about as smart as a sack of hammers. But of course, they was getting paid by the shadow government, the military, so that made them, I guess, smarter than me. Well, they got a bright idea, put me back in a chair, and they wanted to suck the power from the ground, from the generators, from me, and send a message into New York, someplace. I didn't have no choice. When they combined all that and threw the switch, it killed the power. It did some bad mojo there in New York. Destroyed a lot of things. Somebody's ass is going to be in trouble for that. It ain't going to be mine. I'm just a guinea pig. Well, less than 12 hours, there was a vehicle that showed up, and here comes some guys in military outfits and some guys in three-piece suits, and these scientist doctors getting their ass chewed. I'm just in there taking it all in. Then they walked over to where I was at, and they asked if this here was the test subject that caused that. I said, well, wait a minute. I ain't caused nothing. I ain't here because I want to be. I'm here because I'm forced to be here. So, it's their fault, not mine. I didn't ask for this. I ain't getting paid for it. Everybody else getting paid, I ain't. I'm just a guinea pig sitting here eating my Cheetos and drinking my soda. Any blame goes to those guys. They just kind of laughed about it, and proceeded to go back to shoot those guys' ass again. Told them that shit can't happen no more. So, had some layover time. They sent me home. And again, I'd be gone for a month or two sometimes. But when I got taken back, it was like going back in time. And I'd be in the conversation that I was in when I left with somebody. And those people would have no clue I'd been gone. Time seemed to stop back there at home. So I was going in and out of time without really realizing it. Because I was young and stupid, I didn't know. So all that time, see, I'd been doing time traveling and didn't comprehend what was going on. So later on, when we started doing more traveling back in time, I guess I'd gotten so used to it that it didn't really bother me. So that's how that started out. I got sent back to watch the Philadelphia experiment take place and got back to different times and places. I won't mention any time in particular other than the Philadelphia experiment. But I will tell you this. There was lots of kids that they used in the Montauk Project and the Phoenix Projects where they would try to time travel with them or go to another realm. And because the numbers didn't jive right, it didn't mash together like a cog in a wheel, they got kicked out into hyperspace and lost forever. And other times they got fried, literally fried in the chair. So, have a little bit of guilt about that too. Even though I didn't have nothing to do with it, it's just the idea that I lived and they didn't. I'm still watching my back even now, talking to you people out there. I have the same thing as signed my own death warrant. But hell, it's been that way all my life, so why should yesterday be any different than today, or today any different than yesterday? I just want it out there so everybody knows what's going on. Because without me talking about it, you wouldn't have the full truth about it. But anyway, they would take me, sometimes I'd be in a store, I'd go in and go to the bathroom, and had the stall door closed, and these two guys, whenever I'd come out of the stall to wash my hands, would be standing there. You ready? And all of a sudden, poof. We'd left from the bathroom and we're back up at Long Island. Back at the projects. I might be up there for a month or two and come right back, end up back in the bathroom. Walk back out, and whoever I was with, my mom, dad, or grandma, whoever, would be like, my God, we thought you fell in. To them, I'd only been gone, just long enough to use the bathroom. And really, I'd been gone for months. I never did age. For long years, I didn't age. I stayed looking like a little kid. So, it's kind of weird that everybody else aged and grew up. I didn't until years later. Then I was in a few accidents. Caused a lot of this scarring. They done the best they could with surgery. But, you can also see the white coming in my beard. But that's the way it goes, Don't know what'll happen next. Who knows? I could buy the farm tomorrow. But at least I'm trying to get the information out there before anything does happen, in case something does. You never promise tomorrow. You're only given the days you've had, the moment you're in, but not the future. I got a fairly decent life now, and good wife, good animals, and a damn good guard dog. Hell, he's like my right arm. I wouldn't want to try to live without him. The last dog I had passed away, and my wife conjured this one up. Why, me and him took together like two Polacks in a bar. Inseparable. He's a damn good dog, just like I got a damn good wife. They can both be mean as hell. But damn, they're fun to be with. Well, until the next time, this is Henry, and I'll let y'all go to sleep and think about this stuff for a while. I'll get back with you on the next one. We'll pick up, and I'll tell you more. Hell, who knows? Before it's over with, there'll probably be a lot of people with missing fingernails where they chewed their fingernails off. And there's probably some going to be sitting there cussing me because I cut it off so quick. But, that's how life is. There's always the next video and the next video. Nobody knows. But keep this in mind. Everything I'm telling you is true. I can prove it. So until the next time, don't take no wooden nickels. And be careful about dating people with tattoos. This is Henry saying goodnight. Thank you for watching. Give me a thumbs up. Hell, leave a comment. Subscribe, maybe. It's all appreciated. Won't cost you a dime. I promise you it won't cost you a dime. But I sure appreciate it. Thank you and good night.